Okay, l'chaim, everybody, l'chaim. Any napkins on the table? Any napkins here? Napkins, towels. There you go. Thank you, I'm good.
You could be better.
Yes, we can all be better. Mashiach can be better. Okay, one more Rambam, yeah.
Is this base? This is base?
What does that mean? Halacha base. Greenberg from Buffalo, Ken Lennon. What's his first name? Herschel. He said at the Bishop Gechazin. A short side get the vein halacha base. Noch a short side get it. Nobody else spoke. As soon as the scene was over, they ran right to the got back in the plane and it was over. Finished. Yeah, this halacha base. So a very interesting idea in Rambam. Yeah, the Rambam talks about Mashiach. We're talking about Mashiach. And as you know, the Rebbe always says that the Seder of Rambam is the Seder of life, it's the Seder of the year, and it's the Seder of history. Like somebody mentioned, that you start off, what's the Lashon of the Rebbe? Kemar midli, tipim benayam. When you start learning Rambam, so you have to be Dias Hashem. The first thing you know is the Eibishter. But when you start learning Rambam, you just know a drop in the bucket. That's called mar midli. Mar means a drop, and midli means the bucket. Or tipim benayam, a drop in the ocean. And when you finish the Rambam, it's kamayim l'yom achasim, you're saturated with your Dias Hashem. So the Rambam is describing the evolution of a person in Torah, evolution of the world in Torah, that you go from knowing the Eibishter a little bit to the level where the whole union of Torah is Ladas Hashem Bavad. You know, the Chazal tell us, Tami HaMitzvahs. What are the reasons for mitzvahs? Tami HaMitzvahs. What are the reasons for mitzvahs? Tami HaMitzvahs Lein Nizgal. We don't know the real reason for mitzvahs. Mitzvahs have many reasons. You know, you look in a Musa Sefer to tell you mitzvahs is for Midas Tevis. Look at another Musa Sefer, the mitzvahs is for Deus Nechonis, right, to develop a good philosophy of life. Look at another Sefer, the mitzvahs is L'Shem Yichud, L'Yachdekut, Shabrichu, Shchinte, B'Tachteinim, to bring Al-Kus into the road. Look at another Sefer, the reason for mitzvahs is Avodas HaBirurim, Avodas HaTshuva, Avodas HaNisyonos. There's all kinds of reasons for mitzvahs, but they're not the real reason. What's the real reason? The real reason is, this is Chemdig news that Eibishter's Oineg HaAtzmi, which we'll never know, or whatever the Lomdish is, yeah? But the Rebbe said that according to the Rambam, when Mashiach is going to come, we're going to have mitzvahs. And the mitzvah can have a kavanah. But every single mitzvah's kavanah is going to be to know the Eibishter. What's tefillin? To know the Eibishter. What's mezuzah? To know the Eibishter. What's kasha? To know the Eibishter. What's challah? To know the Eibishter. What's truma? To know the Eibishter. What's kochim? To know the Eibishter. Now, how many times you know the Eibishter? It's going to get boring. And the miracle is going to be, it's not going to be boring. Every mitzvah is Mildas Hashem Bilvad, in a way that is going to be unique and distinctive to every mitzvah. That's how the Rebbe explains. The level of Bais Azman, we're going to be busy with knowing the Eibishter. But I want to talk about Melech HaMashiach. Right there. So the end of Rambam is Melech HaMashiach. And of course, right before Melech HaMashiach, you had the halachas of the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nei Neach. Because the Rebbe teaches us that it's a lachuf, right? We have an obligation to teach the world about the Eibishter. As the preparation of Mashiach, you have to teach Goyim. You have to teach Goyim. You have to teach Goyim how to serve the Eibishter. But what does the Rebbe say about Mashiach? What does the Rebbe say about Melech HaMashiach, right? Melech HaMashiach Osed Lamed. What does the Rebbe say about Mashiach? He says some very interesting things. The first thing he says about Melech HaMashiach is the Mashiach is not a new idea, Mashiach is an old idea. Mashiach is not one of a kind. Mashiach is not unique in halacha. Why? Because Mashiach is a melech. A melech. A melech has halachas. Kings have laws. Right? Just like Koyanim, Gedalim have laws, the Nasi Sanhedrin has laws, the Nasi Eveshevet has laws, the Rav Kehila has laws, a private person has laws, a king has laws. And they're familiar. Shaul HaMelech was a king, Ishbaishas was a king, and David HaMelech was a king, and Shlomo HaMelech was a king. There's been many kings. Mashiach is, quote, another king. That's all he is, a melech. But what's a king for? Why did they make melech? Why did they give us a king? So the first requirement of a king is to make us safe. The first obligation of a melech is to make the Jewish people safe. And the second obligation of a king is to make us frum, to make us serve the Eibishter. So HaMelech HaMashiach is going to come, and he's going to do what he has to do. And as Melech HaMashiach, he's going to make us safe. And Yaakov Kol Yisrael Leilech Bo Lechazik Bitko Mashiach is going to force us to be from Jews. And the liberals are going to scream that this is religious coercion. The Rabbi say in Hebrew, Kfiyah Datit. Mashiach is not a Democrat. He's not going to be elected by a political body. He's not going to answer to anybody. I like to say that Mashiach is going to come every week. The UN is going to condemn him for some other thing. And what's Mashiach going to do? Yashir Koyach next. He's not going to make a vote and a sifa and say, how could you placate the goyim? He's going to say, based on the Gemara says, before Mashiach comes, Pnei Adek Pnei Akelev. The Gemara says, what's Pnei Adek Pnei Akelev? The leaders of the generation are like dogs. We talked about dogs before. Yeah, what is the face of it? A dog runs ahead of his master. He runs ahead of him, but he's always looking to see if the master follows. So Pnei Adek Pnei, you have leaders. They run ahead and say, oh, the people are not following. Tell me where you want me to go and I'll go. I'm running ahead of you. Mashiach is Nishka Pnei Adek Pnei Akelev. Mashiach leads, and if the world doesn't follow, he continues to lead, and the whole world is going to follow. So Mashiach is a melech, is a king with all the halachas of melech, all the limitations of a melech, and he is going to make us elech yidden from a yidden. First he's going to fight with the goyim, and then he's going to educate the goyim, like the Rabbi explains in all the sichos. There's one magic word about Mashiach. There's one word. If you want to understand what makes Mashiach different than all the Malchus Shalak, what makes Mashiach different, Mashiach's a king. Well, he is a king. And as powerful as kings are, there are laws that govern kings. Just like there's laws that govern a king Gadol and laws that govern the head of the Sanhedrin. A king has rules. A king can't do everything he wants. He can do almost everything he wants, but the kings also have to keep the Torah. The kings are also bound by correct, by right and wrong, and so forth and so on. Yeah, but what makes Mashiach special? One word, one simple word. Makes Mashiach special is one word. What's that word? You know, David. I know your name now. I haven't forgotten it yet. Don't worry, I'll forget soon. Soon you're going to say, Wednesday you get to forget my name. What's the one word? What's special about Mashiach? Do you know? You started up with me, I got to start up with you. The one word that makes Mashiach special is Matzliach. Matzliach. All kings have the same duty. Mashiach's going to finish. Mashiach is going to be Matzliach. Mashiach is going to bring the whole world to come to know the Eibishter, to come to serve the Eibishter, and to be happy about it. If he has to force us, he'll force us. But the end of the force is an education. The end of the force is lifting up people. Yidna v'hav le'af afi avdolas. Goyim. Oz epech alamim sofa bruder rikli kulam b'shem Hashem Shchem Echad. Shchem Echad means together as one. We all have one Eibishter, like it says in Rashi. Melech Echad, King Hashem Echad, King Gadol Echad, Beis Hamikdash Echad is one. And that's what Mashiach means. Mashiach's a person, a Melech HaMashiach. And his success is going to be as a king. He's going to do his job. He's going to educate the world. He's going to teach the world. And again, it's consistent with what I said before, the way that Rebbe understands Mashiach. The whole thing about miracles. Miracles are wonderful. I like miracles. I'll take them any day. It's not about miracles. You know why it's not about miracles? Because it's not about the Eibishter. Miracles are a necessary part of Avodas Hashem. They're part of life. I'm sure you know about this. One of those rare cases where Kvayachol the Rebbe disagreed with the Frierdiker Rebbe was about miracles. There's an exchange of letters which was released right after Gimel Tammuz, where the Frierdiker Rebbe gives the Rebbe a whole explanation that miracles was by Poilisher and Chabad is Pnimius and the whole thing. And the Rebbe writes to the Frierdiker Rebbe, maybe that was true in the old days. It's not true now. Now we need miracles. We need miracles. Everybody wants miracles and we don't mind getting a freebie any day of the week, right? We have no shame. We'll take it for free and easy any day of the week. Then we got to figure out how to not go crazy from it. But it's not about the miracle, because miracles Eibishter does. It's about us. It's about people and serving Hashem and growing in Avodas Hashem. And this is what Mashiach is bringing to the world. Mashiach is bringing to the world, however he approaches it, people living like normal people. That's all it is. People living like the Eibishter intended for people to be, as he gave Goyim in Gan Eden, and after they left Gan Eden, he gave Goyim Shava Mitzvahs. It's not about flying in the sky. It's about living like a normal person. I talk for a living, as I'm sure you would know. I talk and I talk and I talk until it's obscene. But I tell people all the time, there was never a time in the history of mankind that Yiddishkeit made more sense. Pasha to have a good life. I'm not from God, believe in God. I have students who are atheists. And one of my students says, Rabbi, if I ever have kids, I'm going to raise them Orthodox. I said, well, you don't believe in God? I mean, he's an atheist like I'm a Martian, not like an astronaut. Like Pasha was born on Mars. He's an atheist. He can't count to 10, but he's an atheist. You know the word from Frierdiker Rebbe? The Frierdiker Rebbe had a cousin who was a very proud atheist. And the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote him a letter. And in the letter, he addresses him, Vav Vav Ches Aleph Yud Aleph. The Rebbe Frierdiker Rebbe had a rule. If you were Jewish and you were male, you got Vosik V'Chosid Isherei Elikim. And our Rebbe, who was very, very, very conservative about giving titles, this he always includes. If you're Jewish and you're male, you get Vosik V'Chosid Isherei Elikim. So this cousin of the Rebbe's was insulted by the Frierdiker Rebbe, calling him a Vosik and a Chosid and an Isherei Elikim. Maybe he was even told by being called a Isha, and he came to the Frierdiker Rebbe and said, I'm an apokaitis. Excuse me. And I'm proud of it. Why do you call me an Elikim and a Chosid? So the Frierdiker Rebbe said, I heard from Rabbi Fuchs. So I'm looking Gan Eden. He was my Melamed. He said, the Frierdiker Rebbe said to him, Nit von Klappen, Semichkes, von Spielen in Korten, wird man an apokaitis. Von dem wird man a Bur. An apokaitis is Shana u Piresh. You don't become a heretic because you play cards and you spit the shells of sesame seeds. From that you become a numbskull, a nobody homnik, a gornisht. An apokaitis is Shana. He learned Kolatayda Kulu Piresh. Not he interpreted it. He separated himself from the Taylor. You know apokaitis. You know apokaitis. At best you're fed. Apokaitis Mr. Nish. You understand? We live in a time when so this kid says to me, I don't believe in God, but I have to raise my kids from. Why? I want him to have a good life. Have a good life. Explain this to a goy. Explain to the goy. Mashiach is going to teach this to the world. And they're going to believe him. And they're going to learn from him. And they're going to follow him. And they're going to listen to him. And he's going to be a Matzliach. This is the of Mashiach. Melech HaMashiach. Melech HaMashiach. He's a person. He's a Melech. He's a king. He's going to change the whole world to go the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I need a little mashke.
Give him a lot.
You think? If you give me more, I'll drink more. It doesn't exactly work that way. So the Eibishter Avdol Chazen mit den Rebben, take it from a Yad Mamish. From the Hisgalus, Melech HaMashiach, L'chaim, L'vrocha. And I think it's good to remember this. It's good to remember this. It really is about us. It really is about us. It really is about us. Chaim Baruch Halberstam told me, he was the Rebbe's photographer. He stood by dollars behind the Rebbe and he click, $5, $5 was a good business. The $5 has turned into $40, yeah, and someone else was charging. But he charged $5. One roll of film, 36 exposure, at $5 a piece. And I don't know what it is. And it's $180. It's not bad. Yeah, you go through 20 rolls of film. It's a Shayna Zundik. It's a nice panusa. So he told me every Sunday when the Rebbe finished giving dollars, the Rebbe would turn around and hand him a dollar and say, the Rebbe knew he was charging $5 a picture, but he told him nevertheless, so he told me, Rabbi Halberstam, if you remember how dollars work, unless you were a VIP, you came up from downstairs. Whether you were a man or a woman, you came up from downstairs. You would walk down the hall towards the front of 770, and you'd make a right, and you'd go around, and you'd pass by the Rebbe, and you'd go out through the steps that's called Rabbi Groner's office. Chaim Baruch stood right by the door. When you would come into the room where the Rebbe was giving dollars, he was standing right there. He had a camera on manual, not on automatic. Because with automatic, the photographer would tell you that half the pictures become blurry. It was on manual. It was focused on the same point. So the pictures were always in focus. And he had the two cameras, and he had an assistant, and they would load, and he was taking click, click. Anyway, It's $5. Imagine $5. I always think about it. $5. $5. Click. Now it's 40. Now I think it's $40 a picture. But anyway, a woman walks by him, and she's very well dressed. She has a lot of presents, and she says to Chaim Baruch, "Do not take my photograph with the Rebbe. I don't want a picture of the Rebbe. Until I ask you." In other words, he thought that she's one of those people that no one's allowed to know she came to the Rebbe. It's not good for her public image. Until I ask you. Fine. Anyway, she walks up to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe gives her a dollar, bracha batzlacha. I mean, when you watch dollars, you see all the special moments. There's two things that the kids don't know about dollars. Number one, waiting in line. You can get, for those of you who don't remember dollars, you can get everything from a dollar except the waiting in line. You're talking 2, 3, 4 hours. And you can go out of your mind. You go out of your mind so bad that by the time you get in front of the Rebbe, you're so dizzy that you miss it.
You forget.
You wait so long. You're so angry at this elbow and that elbow, and they put the ladies first, and how come we have to go last? I remember standing in front of the Rebbe's house, pouring, and there was no place to hide. And they used to send the lady policemen to move the men, and the men policemen to move the ladies. They didn't have to touch us. Just came near us, and we all moved away. If the policemen came when they were male, we pushed them back. The lady policeman came, so you didn't want her to push you, so you moved. I walked into the Rebbe, I was a sponge. A sponge. You waited hours. You can, kinderlach, you can get $1. You can't wait in line. The waiting in line it's part of the story, it's part of it. And then you finally, soon is going to be your turn. And you got to say, okay, now I got to stop being nervous, stop being angry at all the people who pushed me, and all the people who made me wait, and I have to present. The second thing you don't realize about dollars is, it was mamish a second. For most people, most times, it was a second. Bracha v'atzlach, bracha v'atzlach, bracha v'atzlach, bracha v'atzlach. But the Rebbe looks into your eyes. And when you walk by the Rebbe, this is true by everything. You wanted the Rebbe's eyes should touch yours. And you could miss it. If you're not careful, you looked away for a split second, and the Rebbe would look at you before he handed you the dollar. Now you were afraid that if you were not looking at your hand, the dollar would miss your hand, but you had to look at the Rebbe. Don't worry, the dollar will get where it has to go. You have to look at the Rebbe. Kesha Baruch with the same thing. You walked with the Rebbe with a little cup of wine. I want you to think about this. In the later years, they gave out big cups. But the Rebbe was pouring wine into a kelishik. You know what it means? The circumference of the cup is this big, thousands of times. He never missed. You know what that is? Besides just the physical, but the Rebbe is pouring into these tiny cups. For those who remember, every person, he would look at you, and you would walk up to the Rebbe, and you wanted to make sure that when the Rebbe's eyes touched yours, you were looking back. And it was so quick. It was always, everything by the Rebbe was so efficient. It looked so easy. But I think about it, try to pour into a little cup held by a person. It's not on a table. And the person's hand also moving. You never missed. You poured into your cup, right? Am I right or wrong? When that Mason laughed how extraordinary it was. The Rebbe was 80 years old, 85 years old. When someone said about the Rebbe's the Rebbe's hand shook. He never missed. He never missed. And he gave you $1. So dollars, the two things that the kids don't know about dollars is the waiting in line and how it was over before. It was so fast. Unless you had a reason to say something to the Rebbe, and of course we had 1,000 reasons that the Rebbe shouldn't look in our direction, to forget about saying things to the Rebbe. A guy told me, it's a gewaltige Zach. A Baal Tshuva came from in San Francisco, and he moved to Crown Heights. So Chaim Mitchell Drizzen, so sagen is in Stark, was the Schleich at San Francisco, there two things. Rule number one, not everybody in Crown Heights is like me. Translate that however you wish. Rule number two, in Crown Heights is a Rebbe. The best thing that can happen to you is the Rebbe should never notice you. If the Rebbe notices you, it's not good. He says, I moved to Crown Heights and I discovered it's not ever like Rabbi Drizzen, and the Rebbe never noticed me, so I knew it was good. Had to smell engeduk. That's intuitive, it's deep. But that was very fast, and very fast, very, very quick. You walked by the Rebbe, it was very, but you had that moment. The Rebbe looked into your eyes, bracha v'atzlach, bracha v'atzlach, bracha v'atzlach. I forgot even what I'm trying to say, but it's always a good, So this lady walks by the Rebbe, and says, do not take my photo until I ask you to. So Chaim Baruch is there with his assistant, click, 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 bracha v'atzlach, bracha v'atzlach. You're talking literally a picture every 2 or 3 seconds. That's how fast it is. He had to have 2 cameras, EOS cameras, Aleichem Hashalom, with 36, and he was changing. He had him on a tripod, and he was changing. It was a whole situation, how he was not missing any pictures. It's $5 a picture, $5, $5, $5, $5. It takes him 10 seconds to change a roll, just lost $15. It was a whole operation. And this lady walks by and says, do not take my photo until I ask you to. She walks up to the Rebbe and she says to the Rebbe, I don't know who she was, and Rabbi, I would like to be photographed with you. I would like to take a picture with you. She didn't want an automatic. She didn't want a bederach mamela, right? It says the story. She didn't want a bederach mamela. She wanted a bederach asaskas. She wanted that the Rebbe should take a picture with her, not by mistake, on purpose. So the Rebbe says to her, if it will add an increase in Teda mitzvahs. It will be an increase in Teda mitzvahs. I don't know who you are, who you're holding, except it's tzukum, and there'll be more. So she turns around to Chaim Baruch and says, now you can take the picture. And the Rebbe, he told me, the Rebbe came out and stood next to this lady and posed for the picture, because there's going to be an increase. I wonder what the picture is. An increase in Teda mitzvahs. An increase in Teda mitzvahs. We are chassidim, and we have a Rebbe. All the Rebbe wants from us is we should be a little bit closer to the Eibishter. A little bit more particular on Kima mitzvahs and Alimud HaTorah. That's what the whole Mashiach is about. Miracles are very important, and they're very nice, but it's not about the miracle. You know, it's not about the Rebbe has a sikha, look at the sikhas, where the Rebbe speaks about the Rambam. Everybody knows the famous machlokes with the Rambam and the Ramban, whatever, the Ravid, where the Mashiach comes, b'derech hatav or b'derech nes, right? The Rambam writes in Perikid Beis, that Amru Chachamim, Amru Chazal, Ein ben el mazel yimeis HaMashiach al Hashib et Malchus Avad. And this that it said, Gerz even Keves Hakel Moshelim Litza. The Rambam Paskins and Hilchas Malacha Perikid Beis, that when Mashiach comes, there's no miracles. All happens naturally. What about all the psukim that suggest that there's going to be all kinds of wonderful miracles? Wild animals are going to stop being predatory and the whole thing. It's a mushal for Rishei Umei Sa'ayel. That's what the Rambam writes. So first of all, Mistama, you know, that the Rambam himself writes in the Yeres Teimon. The Rambam writes himself that this that I wrote, this that we wrote in our Sefer, that Mashiach's coming with B'derech HaTeva, Ein Dov Hazeh Achleti. It's not a certitude. In other words, it could be B'derech Nes. I wrote it this way because Api Allah it's this way. In other words, if you're familiar with the Rebbe Sichas, the Rebbe explains it's consistent with the Rambam Shita that you shouldn't try to figure out how Mashiach is going to come. Now I'm right. You're not supposed to figure out how Mashiach is going to come. It's not an Ike B'das. Teipach Harucham. You shouldn't sit down and figure out how Mashiach is going to come. So the Rebbe says, why? You know why? Because you can't know how Mashiach is going to come. Because Mashiach coming depends on us. If we are more deserving of Mashiach, Mashiach comes in one way. If Chas V'Shalom with less of Mashiach, Mashiach comes in a different way. The Rambam can't tell how Mashiach is going to come because it's not written in a Sefer. It's written in the hearts and minds and actions of Jewish people. So the Rambam says, we don't know. We don't know because we don't know. He says because it's only the psukim and there's not enough Mamad Chazal and people are trying to guess. That's Eshet Rambam. But the Rebbe says it's a Maaseh from Yidach Hashem. It depends on us. Depends on the Maimed and Matzav of Yidden. Our situation determines how Mashiach is going to come. Whether it can be B'derech Nes or B'derech Tava. But it doesn't make a difference. Because one thing remains true. The Eibishter created the world for people. And the Eibishter wants people to serve Hashem. He wants us to learn Torah and to do mitzvahs and to be precise in all the things that we do and to grow and to be makar of another Jew. So I wanted to say this. I got to stop talking. I have a problem. I need an hourglass, you know, a candy with a button, and then it doesn't melt, and you keep on talking. But there's a sikh from the Rebbe on the Rambam, where the Rebbe brings you to the Rambam, right? There's a machlokes in Yishonim, where the Mashiach comes miraculously, or Mashiach comes naturally. That's how you understand it, Bebashtas. So the Rebbe says, imagine Mashiach comes, and there's not oneness. The world continues. Biden is still the president, and he's still a bottle, and Putin is still Meshuggah. It's a yeah? Not a single mess. But somehow, whatever the Eibishter wants should happen. Somehow Putin figures out how to finish the war without losing his honor, and never one Russian will die less, aggressive Rachmanis of the world, and one Ukrainian will die less, aggressive Rachmanis of the world. Yet the world is going to be the Eibishter's world. There'll be a single miracle. B'derech HaTeva, Yidden and Lahadl Goyim are going to figure out that it's in my best interest to do what the Eibishter says. What does Eibishter say? You come into this world, you build a family, and you stay with your family, and you raise your children, you teach them how to be good people. You do it, and I do it, and he does it, and the Goy Lahadl does it, and that's Mashiach. Everybody does their little piece, and the world becomes a good world. So the Rebbe says, imagine a world where no miracles happen, and all the people in the world follow Mashiach's teachings, and they serve Hashem. Says the Rebbe, could there be a bigger miracle than that? There's no ness, right? There's no bittul minhag shalayla, there's no tavach hadasha, right? The trees that don't have fruits still don't have fruits. There's no miracles. People simply behave like human beings. People simply follow, they live b'tzelem Elokim, that's all. So the Rebbe says, could you imagine a bigger miracle? Not a single miracle. Could there be a bigger miracle than the miracle of people being as the Eibishter made people to be? And it begins with us. We need a menagin. We need a chazan over here, a menagin. Does anybody want to volunteer? Huh? He's volunteering somebody else. Everybody is very, very good at offering other people services. I know. Would somebody offer their own services?